Welcome back to Mac's Garage. As always, hit the like, share, subscribe. Today I'm going to continue disassembling this 352 Ford FE series of engine. It's not in frame right now, but today I'm going to be doing the block, all of that good stuff. So with that said, let's give you a quick view on where we're at on the engine and get started. So there it is right now. We already know we've got an issue there. And I don't have a light in here, so let me go grab one of those and I'll show you another concern. Okay, so since I last had a video going on this, there's been a couple of things that I've noticed that are a little bit concerning. One of them is, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see that. Actually, you can almost see it without a light. But there is a huge gap down here between the piston and the cylinder wall, which is not a great sign. That usually means you've got some really excessive wear. This one is probably maybe not the worst, but it's pretty bad too. You can see where they're kind of just all kinds of gap there, so that's not necessarily a great thing. Yeah, but other than that, I'm getting ready to take the oil pan off. I do this a little bit different than a lot of folks. Now, if you watch somebody on TV or a lot of your programs taking an oil pan off, they will roll the engine over and do it from the top side. The problem with that, in my opinion, is that all the garbage that has laid down in this pan for 60 years gets dumped into the rest of the engine you're working on. So I like to take the oil pan off right side up. This engine has never been upside down that I'm aware of. Now that the oil pan is off, we've got coolant in this block, both front and rear. It's going to make a giant mess when we rotate this motor, but the oil is more or less out. So I'm going to go get a big catch pan and try to direct all the coolant into a bucket. So now as I'm getting ready to roll this over, I've got these lifters that probably should come out of here. A little hook would work to get them started, or you know, some of them actually stick a little ways out and they're not that big of a deal. These ones do not want to fall out super easy, so I think I might just leave them in there. Here's the reality. We got a bunch of rust in this one. I'm putting at least one lifter and a cam in, so that means that I'm putting all new lifters in. Now, if there was a potential we might reuse these lifters, then we'd be a little bit more worried about this. But there's basically zero chance these ones can be used again. So we won't worry too much. Yeah, we'll get that later. That's actually kind of a sign of either some coked up oil or maybe something bad. But I don't think they're going to come out of there. So we'll just take that unit off of there and roll this motor over, trying to catch our coolant as it comes out of the block. Another thing you could do is pull this little drain right here, which maybe I will try that on this, but most of the time where I'm at, that's a no start because they are just rusted off. But we'll give it a little shot. No way. Nope, just full of crud. That's nice. That's real good. Okay, so with that not actually draining, we'll just go ahead and roll the motor, catch it into this pan. It'll be fine. Oh, check that out. Started to drain. So, yeah, that's coming out of that black drain. Just took a while to go through all the crud that was in there. I'll let that do its thing for a minute. Alright, so now I pulled the drain plug on both sides. I got a lot of the junk out of here, but there's still a lot more. As I roll this, I put the plugs back in. I'm going to try to kind of shift my bucket majigger under there a little bit more. And there should be some nasty sludge that comes out, because this thing has an absolutely disgusting cooling system in it. Oh yeah, there's some slime. I didn't talk about the cardboard under the engine when I started this, but this is why. So realistically right now there's probably several different ways I could go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the oil pump off because it's right in my face and kind of in the way of everything. And then from the oil pump I will actually go to the front cover, which I could have very easily done before I flipped the engine, but I did not. So we'll take off the oil pump first. Okay, now these Fords, this drive shaft, this is the oil pump drive shaft that I'm taking out right now. It had the retainer clip up to the top so that it did not fall out the top side of the engine. So I'll set that over with the oil pump as well. That's something we'll have to keep track of. Not necessarily the order that I need to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the oil filter housing off right now as well. Now I'm going to pull this off. Probably should have done it when it was right side up, but honestly it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use an impact on it. Okay. Now, I am not totally sure how this is held on here on one of these motors. Sometimes they will basically just kind of press off of there. In fact, I'll grab a rubber mallet, give it a couple smacks just to make sure, but I'm not going to beat on it too hard. So what I need to do is pull these 3 bolts, which is kind of dumb, but it's going to give me enough room to get a puller inside in the center of this. Now I'm going to take my crank bolt, pull the washer off, and then I'll actually go down through the center, which I'm just going to thread it back in. This is going to protect the threads as I use a puller on this. Alright. Alright. So I'm probably going to have to reposition this if it works at all, but we're going to give it a little bit of a try. Oh yeah. It's coming off real nice. Real easy. Okay. Now this is a super happy Ford fun thing. This thing behind here, sometimes it comes off pretty easy, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have to take the keyway out, which is the case here. And then I think it'll actually come off pretty easy once we do that. But yeah, super Ford stuff. So pull that keyway there. This little unit comes right off of there. If you've got, say, like a 460, it'll have like a hammer weight on there if it's an externally balanced engine. This one is not, so it is just a smooth spacer. But yeah, that's kind of a Ford thing. So we got that out of the way. Realistically, I should just leave that bolt in. I'll pull the bolts that hold this timing cover off and knock it out next. Alright, so these higher ones on this are 1/2 inch, and the lower couple, or 4, are 9/16. So that's all the bolts out of there. And that one just pulled off. I don't know that they'll all come off that easy, but this one did. Now we're staring down the timing chain, which has, ooh, plastic gears. I didn't know they were doing that yet in the 60s. Maybe that's been changed. Okay, so, yeah, look at that. That's nice. No play at all. Definitely doesn't need to be replaced. That's sarcasm. It's got plastic gears and all kinds of play. That needs to go. Next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to scrape the pan rail to remove the gasket. You don't need to watch that. I think we're almost done with this video. I want to do the pistons and whatnot on their own, but we'll pull these motor mounts off and this linkage bracket. I think you can see that. And that'll be it. I'll then clean up and come back to this in a little bit. So I guess the best way to say this is I entered this project thinking this engine had never been apart, and at this point I know for sure that it has been. So we'll get into that a little bit. Probably in the, well, definitely in the next video. I don't think we need to go through it right now, but yeah, that'll happen. The camera died while I was pulling those motor mounts and clutch thing, but this is going to be it for this video. We're now down to the only thing left is the block, crankshaft, rods, pistons, cam, lifters, and timing chain. So the next video here is going to be the disassembly of the pistons, rods, and we may or may not get to the crankshaft in that. But the next steps are really important, so I want to start them off on a new video. So thanks for watching. As always, hit the like, share, subscribe. I'm going to bag and tag all of this stuff off camera so it's nice and organized and ready to go when it goes back together. But other than that, I'll see you later.